Hello, and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Val.
And we are back. It's post-Thanksgiving, guys, so I feel like I am like full-on Christmas mode at this point. Before I was like halfway there because I understood it was offensive to some of my friends to be full-on Christmas mode before Thanksgiving, but now, like, I don't care.
My philosophy is time that just find the happiness wherever you can. And if Christmas movies in August make you happy, go for it. That's my feeling. Yeah. I used to be a stickler for not till after Thanksgiving, but as I got older, I'm like, yeah, what does it matter?
My wife, with her crafting stuff that she does, she's got to get some of those projects, like the Christmassy projects, up in November or earlier because people want time to make them and do them. And so we would put our tree up early so she could hang them like by the tree or take pictures by the tree and things like that. And then when COVID happened, and everything was just super depressing that year in 2020. And then that was also the year that I had my surgery and broke my hip and things like that. We put the tree up early then too. And we've just done it ever since then because we're like, we kind of broke through that wall and now we feel like that's what we have to do. So it usually goes up in the beginning of November, but
that's cool.
That's us. And that's what works for us.
Hey, that's what Disney does.
What's that?
The first week of November.
Disney does. Yeah. The day after Halloween, all the Christmas stuff is going up.
Literally the day after.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I know I've seen a behind the scenes thing before where they show what they do between Halloween and Christmas and they take it's all in one night.
And
it's
they only have a few hours. Like it's not a whole night because the park closes at 11.
Yeah.
And California Adventure closes 1 hour earlier, like at 10 o'clock or something like that. And then it opens the next day at 8 a.m. And you've got to have everything ready before people even start lining up at 7 for rope drop. Like you have to think about all these things. So I love, you know me, and I just love like schedules and that kind of stuff. So I want to know, like, I want to see, okay, we start here because of this. Like they start and they work in blocks.
You want the battle plans.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want the logistics. I don't know. That just makes me excited. If somebody were like, Val, here's the Christmas logistics for Disneyland, and that was a present, was just like logistics, I would. Yeah. I mean, if anybody could get them for us, it would be John Smith. Like,
probably.
Or Jake Stone.
Yeah.
Jake and I now have a challenge. We got to get Val a Christmas present.
But yeah, I'm
it
not,
would be awesome.
My house is not Christmas at all yet. I don't think I'm going to put up a tree this year because I have like furniture in the way of where my tree goes, and I don't want to move all that. So I am going to put up like all of the other Christmas things, like right behind me, usually right here, I put my Christmas village. It's going to go there. I'm going to put garland up and like stockings and all that stuff, but I don't think I'm going to do a tree this year. Hopefully by next year I'll have a new couch that doesn't take up the whole living room. And then I won't have to move a piece of furniture to put a tree in.
Well, we haven't done a tree last year or so because we have a cat that loves to climb things and he loves to knock things off of shelves. So so we haven't done that. And then this year I had a water leak in the whole basement and living room got flooded. So the carpet's torn up, the linoleum's torn up. So we're going to go light on the Christmas decorations this year. But the Christmas movies, we will still watch and enjoy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So before we get into our Christmas movies, well, go, Jake. No, you go do your thing, and then I'll say my thing.
No, go ahead, because I was going to take us right into the Christmas movies. So
okay,
if you need to do something
we're going to be talking about some specific Christmas movies. Today we're going to be talking about Spirited. Next week's not really a Christmas movie, but
it's coming out Christmas time.
Are you all into like the new Christmas movies that come out on like Netflix has like a ton of them. Of course, there's the Hallmark ones.
No to
Now
Hallmark.
Amazon is getting into like the Hallmarky kind of thing. For me, I'm a classic. Like I like
Yeah.
the classics, and when I mean that, I mean like Mickey's Christmas Carol, or like Charlie Brown's Christmas, or White Christmas is my favorite Christmas movie. Other than those like movies, I know everybody watches like Miracle on what is it, 34th
34th
Street, and
Yeah.
that's fine. Or like the one that's in black and white that's super sad that I don't understand how it makes people feel good, where the guy has to like look at his whole life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life is a sad, depressing movie.
It is not, but okay.
It is.
I love It's a Wonderful Life. And I get what you're saying. It is like, I mean, let's be honest. When you say, okay, here's the premise of the film, the guy is about to go to jail because money is missing from the deposit, so he's going to commit suicide. Like that's really the basis
let's
for
sit down and watch that as a family.
And then the angel says, "Hey, let's show you what your life would be, what the world would be like if you weren't around." Like I can see it. It isn't like a super happy movie, and we reserve that.
He's talking himself into Val's position.
Well, no, I am not, because it is still one of my favorite movies of all time, and we watch it every Christmas Eve. My wife and I put it on while we're wrapping the presents and getting things ready for Christmas morning. So after the kids go to bed, then we turn that on because we know the kids aren't going to be into it because it is a long movie.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy it. I think the message at the end, as you get to the end of it, is really good. But I do see the depressing part too.
I'm no to the Hallmark stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of saccharine and sappy, but I like the fact they film a lot here in Utah. That's cool.
I like that people love it. Like, I don't want to just be the Scrooge of Christmas movies and Hallmark. Like, I get why people like it. They're happy. They're like, I don't want to say brainless. There's always something going on, but you don't have to think. You're just going to sit down. You're going to enjoy yourself. They're usually pretty quick movies to watch. And if you need that cheesy happiness in your life, I'm glad there is something for you out there. They make a lot of money. It's, you know, like I get it. I get there are people that also like to sit down at Christmas time and watch horror movies all Christmas season. Like that's not my thing either. But I'm glad there's a thing out there for everyone. But I just like wondered to myself the other day, I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, I don't really care about It's a Wonderful Life. I don't care about the other movies that are based on the movie we're talking about today.
Yeah, Christmas Carol.
Like A Christmas Carol, I think that like you can see it once. The only Christmas Carol story that I like rendition of it is Mickey's Christmas Carol. Muppets is fine. It's not my favorite. I'm sorry, it's not my thing. So like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I love Christmas, but then I thought to myself, what do I actually like about Christmas? I do. I promise I like it. I just don't know what.
There's a lot more to Christmas than the movies, Val. So I think like being with family and the celebrations like that happen outside of the movies, I think is what I. Yeah, well, I know it's a weird thing for us to say on this podcast, but
I have my tea, my hot tea this morning.
There you go.
I have my hot cinnamon roll because to me it's like all those comfort foods at Christmas. Christmas and Thanksgiving's all about food for me.
Oh, totally.
I love the lights. I love the trees.
Yeah. See.
So there are things, but to jump into this rendition of the movie.
Yeah, and I think for me, you mentioned the newer movies. I feel like the last couple of years, all of the streaming services have come out with like one or two big, like, here's our Christmas movie. And then they've had some other smaller ones along with like Disney Plus. The first year they came out with Noel, which I thought was cute and fun and things like that. It is hard for me to put those into the same category as like the classics, like the ones that I have to see every year. It's hard for one of the new ones to reach that level of like, okay, this is a can't miss every year. And so I always look at the batch that come out and I think, okay, are any of these going to make my yearly rotation of Christmas movies? That's already pretty stacked.
Right.
I mean, the last one that solidly got in there that we watch every year was Elf, and that's almost 20 years old.
I
Like,
know,
it's less
it's
than one a
crazy.
year, really, that I throw into the annual
It
rotation.
does not feel like 20 years for Elf.
That was the first movie Sammy saw in the theater.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like, not animated, but
Wow.
first movie.
Wow.
And she is 21, and she was, I think, 2 or 3 at the time.
Yeah.
And that's when she just would talk out loud. And she didn't understand that he was wearing like tights. And she said,
Oh,
Mom, why doesn't he have any pants on? And everybody just starts laughing because they're kind of like the color of skin if you're like 2, right? They kind of look
Yeah.
like, she's like, Mom, why doesn't he have any pants on?
That's hilarious.
So I will remember that forever. And we love that. That is one of my favorites. But like, I could watch that movie any time of the year.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
our friend John Favreau, put that
Yes.
together.
I mean,
We love
come
John.
on.
John, you're welcome on the show anytime that you'd like to talk about Elf or any of your films or anything you want. We don't care, but you're welcome on the
Tacos?
show. We'd love to
We'll
have
talk
you.
about tacos.
Yeah, we'll talk about tacos.
anything you
We'll
want.
talk about Star Wars. I mean, really, John, anything you want.
Can we hashtag John Favreau in this episode?
I will tag him on when we post on social media and say, hey, John, anytime. We'd love to have you on the show. Open invitation.
Check out our episode on Chef.
Yeah. So, but that brings us to this movie that we're talking about today, Val, and you were taking us there. Spirited. It's starring Will Ferrell, who's from Elf, and Ryan Reynolds, who is just so charming. Like,
Yeah.
both of these actors have a ton of charisma, and they are in this new Christmas movie, Spirited. And you said before, Val, this is another version of A Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
And do we need another version of A Christmas Carol?
I didn't think we
know.
did. And then I watched the movie.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Am I the only one that likes this movie?
I don't know.
I liked it.
I'm going to be the Scrooge on this one. I'll be honest. Like, I don't know that I enjoyed it that much, but we will talk about it.
Okay.
I liked it. I didn't love it. So I'm probably the middle ground here. So so I have some friends that I have a text chat with. And after seeing the Batman, I wrote to them. I saw it as an advanced screening. I'll get to the Spirited here in a second. But yeah, after I saw the Batman, I texted them and I said, I think that I need to watch this again, but this may be, and I'm going to use my one swear, Jake, a goddamn masterpiece. And so that has become our level of the movie. Yeah, 2 swears.
It's squished into one. So we'll count it as one.
It's a compacted swear. So anyway, so my friend texted and said that Spirited was this masterpiece. And so then yesterday when I said, it was cute, it's a little long, but I liked it. And so then he called me Scrooged and sent me all sorts of emojis and stuff like that. So I wouldn't say it's a GD masterpiece, but I'd say it's a fun movie. It's on Apple Plus.
Apple TV Plus. I'm going to say that 3 times because I messed it up on Good Things Utah. It's on Apple TV Plus. Apple TV Plus. It's in theaters, but also you can see it on Apple TV Plus.
And maybe it plays better in the theater than it did at home on the small screen. I don't know.
I think it's meant for the small screen. I mean, I know people that went and saw it in theaters.
I don't think you have to.
I don't think you do. Like, for me, I graded it as an Apple TV movie,
right.
which I would have graded different if I would have seen it in theaters. Sorry, I just took a bite of a big piece of goodness.
It looked
delicious.
Got a great cast, though. I mean, you got Ryan Reynolds, Will Ferrell, but then you have Sunita Mani, who is incredible on Glow. She plays the ghost of Christmas Past.
Yeah.
Octavia Spencer, who I just love. I think she's just fabulous. I thought she was a little underused here. Patrick Page, Tracy Morgan, the ghost of Christmas Future, Rose Byrne. I mean, it's a pretty stacked cast here.
I thought the same thing about Octavia Spencer, but then I thought to myself, like, she's in a lot of like heavy hitting movies.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe just wanted to have some fun. Like,
totally.
You know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I think that sometimes these movies, it's like, hey, you want to come in and play and you only have a 5-day shoot. You don't have to be on something for like, 5 months. And she was like, yeah, I have time for, you know what I mean? It's like, I think about that sometimes when I thought about this movie, and I thought this movie is just supposed to be fun. And I really liked her character and what her character represented.
Yeah.
I really liked that they made Ryan Reynolds' character, the character that's supposed to be changed and shown his life, and he's gonna come to and all this stuff. Like, he's like, I don't want to be saved. I'm fine. And if somebody showed up at my house like a ghost, I'd be asking questions. Like, why would you just follow all of these things? I love that he was a big pain in the butt. Like, to me, I liked they made this story, but they gave it a purpose. They gave all of the characters a different purpose. We got to learn where they come from, what they're doing, what happened to, Scrooge all these years later. And then, Ryan Reynolds' character is such a jerk, and I love it.
I like that they put a spin on the story, because hi babe.
Hi babe, he said. Babes. He's going to work.
But I like the fact they put a spin on this, because when I feel like this story is so well known, you've got to put your own take on it. You got to put your own twist to it. We talked last year about Scrooge with Albert Finney, which is a musical. I love the Muppets version because it's a Muppetized version of the Christmas story or A Christmas Carol. So I like the fact that they put the spin on it. I caught on early what they were doing, but then it still took me in some surprising ways, which I liked.
Yeah. I feel like as they were trying to put their own spin on it, as they were putting their own spin on it, they didn't try, they did. There were kind of the two big reveals in the movie.
Yeah.
The one that the current Ghosts of Christmas Present was Ebenezer Scrooge, and then the other one that he's going to retire and Ryan Reynolds is going to be the one that takes his place once he's redeemed.
Yeah.
And it was funny because within 5 minutes, my wife and I were talking as we were watching it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's going to end up being Ebenezer Scrooge. And then my wife's like, see, I don't really understand what's going on, because I think, isn't Ryan Reynolds going to be the one that replaces him? I feel like he's going to be the one that replaces him. And like within minutes, we were like, okay, so we had like that figured out. And I think that was fine. I don't think that like it was crucial to like have that twist at the end or anything like that. But I think one of my big issues with it was I really didn't like when they pointed out that, okay, Ebenezer Scrooge was a changed man for the rest of his days, a whole 3 weeks, and then he died. Like,
I love
that made me a little
part.
bit. I didn't, because then it was this whole question: was I really redeemed, or am I really unredeemable, and everything? And I get why they needed to get there to get to the heart of the story.
Right.
But I love the idea of Ebenezer Scrooge really being a changed man and really being there as Tiny Tim is growing up and helping him and like becoming like a second father to him. That doesn't happen in 3 weeks' time.
Let's be honest though, Jake. Scrooge was not living his best life. You know that he was eating like poor quality food. He had no heat in his house.
Absolutely. The fact that he lived as long as he did was only because he was wealthy and could afford doctors to help him get there. And I get it, but like, honestly,
he wasn't in the best shape.
Where in any of the stories did it say that he was like helping Tiny Tim grow up and he was there throughout his life? That was something that you imposed in there, sir.
No, I don't think so. I think a couple of the movies, at least, and maybe even the book, mentioned that he became like a second father to Tiny Tim.
Oh, I don't read.
So I don't think it was just me imposing that on there. I think that's been part of the.
I've seen all of the movies. I've seen the musical. I've gone there, and I think it shows that he's good and that he's interested in that. But like, never did I ever think, since seeing this since I was a little kid, that he was going to show up at the house every day and then walk Tiny Tim to school every day and then help him like with his college bills. I don't think that's
what I'm saying either, but I think most of the movies mention that he was as good as his word and better, and he became like a second father to Tiny Tim. I don't think that's. I'm not making this up. This isn't the Mandela effect.
Jake,
I'm going to go find quotes and clips.
I lean your way on this one, Jake.
All right, fine. I guess I just don't pay attention to the movie that much anymore because I don't care about it.
But I think they took your approach, Val, and they said, look, everybody assumes he lived this long life where he was a much better person. What if he died like 3 weeks after after it happened. And it was an interesting take.
I think for me, the reason why I resonated with this part of the story is that, and I've talked about my life a lot, and I apologize.
No.
But this is a thing. So for people that sit and we try and better ourselves and change ourselves for the better, and it is a constant thing that you have to work at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, when it was like, well, he died 3 weeks later, so does that mean, he would have been? And so I'm always thinking to myself as an adult, as you're trying to be a better person, like, have I really stayed on the track that I started 4 years ago? In 5 years, will I still be on that track? And it's something that, as a human, like, you're constantly working at, or it's one of those things where, like, you just, okay, well, it's too hard and I give up, and I was good and I tried to be good once, and that's still okay, right? Because I did this good thing 4 years ago. Am I still good now because of that? Like, I liked it because it proved to him he actually was just as good as Change that day, because all of these things he was trying to do, and all the ways that he was being, but as a person that was trying to change his ways and to be good at what he thought he was doing, he forgot about his own happiness. And I think people can lose themselves in that. Like, I see people, like, I would go volunteer when I worked at Disney like 3 or 4 times a week, and I was constantly showing up to people's events, and I would pick people up if they didn't have a car and do all these things, and then I'd go home, but I wasn't happy. So you can change as a person, and you can then help, but
Right.
what are you doing for yourself? So for me, I thought that was such a cool part of the story, and maybe I was the only one that got that, but that's what I got out of it.
I like that.
And Octavia Spencer was like, he started feeling something he never thought he could feel, but he didn't think it was okay for him to be happy because it would take away from what he thought he had to do to be a better person.
Right.
I really appreciated the fact that Octavia Spencer isn't your typical, like, movie star, beautiful actress.
Mhm.
She is beautiful.
Right.
Please understand that I did not just say she's not beautiful, but what I'm saying is she is not the stereotypical archetype movie starlet, and but it is who he fell in love with at first sight, and I love that
Mhm.
because he saw who she was, and who she was beautiful regardless of anything else, and I think that was a great message as well, and I like it when we are seeing more and more of that in Hollywood, where there's a little bit more these real relationships, and it doesn't
Mhm.
have to be the traditional good-looking lead actor and the traditional good-looking lead actress. It can be people come in all sorts of shapes and sizes and looks and
Well, these two
whatever,
are
so
goofballs. Like Octavia, we
yeah.
always see her in serious roles. She's a goofball. If you really know a lot about her, if you don't, go and like deep dive.
Wasn't
She's
she
a
in that
goofball.
silly horror movie where she like kidnapped the teenagers and locked them in the basement? And
She's goofy. And like
yeah,
Will Ferrell, hello, is like the
well,
king of goof. So I
and
love it that they're
the thing that kills me is I read an article. She didn't feel comfortable singing, and I thought she had one of the best voices in the cast. So she said that it was a real challenge for her, and I just assumed watching it yesterday. I'm like, wow, I didn't know she could sing, but congrats. I thought she was great. And as Sammy would say, there are a few bops in this.
There are some bops.
Some bops.
I have it's such a state of disagreement on the music on this, guys. I
What? It
just
was
did
so
not.
much fun.
I felt like all
There's
the
a few.
lyrics, all the songs were like when Buddy the Elf is like, I'm singing, I'm standing in a store and I'm singing. Like that's how I felt most of the songs were. And I love musicals. There's a lot of musicals I really enjoy, and I get that the whole concept of a musical is ridiculous, and they point that out in this movie, but I just wasn't feeling the music, and I'm sorry. Like, maybe that makes me a
Right.
Grinch or whatever, but
No.
I think they
I just
meant to
wasn't
make
feeling
it
it.
this cheesy thing. And if you watch any of the rehearsal videos when the guys are dancing, it's so funny trying to see Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell like find a beat. I mean, they do a good job, but I think they knew it was like, hey, we're friends.
They
We want to get together. we're going to find cheesy music. It's going to make people uncomfortable because this is not something we regularly do. But hopefully, our weirdness, cheesiness, and ridiculous and lack of dance skills will make people laugh and have fun. And so that's how I took it. Do I think like any of these songs should be nominated for anything? No. But do I think this music was better than the music in Enchanted or Disenchanted? I certainly do.
Okay, so maybe that's my problem. I haven't seen Disenchanted yet, so maybe I don't have that bottom. Okay, well, maybe I do to appreciate the music in this one more. I don't know.
Well, the thing that I liked is this is Pasek and Paul. They did The Greatest Showman. They did Dear Evan Hansen. I don't feel like these songs are as catchy as those or as memorable. I don't think any of the songs in this are going to be like the song from The Greatest Showman, This Is Me. I don't think it's going to be this pop culture zeitgeist or anything. But I thought that it was clever. And I think that the thing is, Jake, is we know Will Ferrell can't really sing. We've established that from all these years. I assumed Ryan Reynolds could sing. He did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he was fine
overall. But I think what they did is they took actors who don't sing and tried to make the songs.
They talk singed.
They
talk singed.
Yes, a lot of talk sing. Yeah.
And hearing that it's the same people that did the songs for Dear Evan Hansen and did the musical there. I didn't like Dear Evan Hansen.
Neither
I
did
think Greatest Showman, the music is great.
The movie was terrible. The actual soundtrack I liked a lot.
I just don't like the idea of it either.
The Dear Evan Hansen. See, I like the story in Dear Evan Hansen. I just didn't think the music was that good.
Well, and I think that comparing them it's like, again, going back to Octavia Spencer, like saying that you always have to do these big things, like this was just fun. This was not, hey, we are putting on this big spectacle that is The Greatest Showman. And like, this is like the soundtrack is as big as the movie, is as big as the concert that's going to happen, is we're going to get all of these actual pop singers and whatever to re-record. Like that wasn't the intention of this movie. And so that's why I can't compare it to any of those things. To me, I have been watching freaking love stories where people then eat each other at the end. I have been watching
I don't get why
everything I see about movies movie. About women that should be told but are just sad. Like I have been watching sad things that make me need a movie therapist.
It's the award season, so it's all the heavy stuff.
It is, and I usually don't mind it, but this was a fun break, and I do think for me, there is an audience for it. Mm-hmm. Is it something that I'm going to be watching every year, like I do the Elf, or like I do, White Christmas and that kind of
Vacation.
Stuff? Yeah, that's probably like an every other year, or if it's on, I'll watch it. But I don't go like trying to watch it. Like I like the movie just fine, but like, Dave's not going to want to watch this movie because Dave's not going to want to watch this movie. I didn't make him watch it because there's too much singing and he doesn't like musicals. So I did not make him watch this. However, I think if he just sat down and he was like, let's just watch something stupid and fun, and he could get over the singing, I think he'd enjoy it one time. You know what I mean? Like, but I think it's a fun movie. I think it's something that if you're not into like the Hallmark movies, this could be something for you. But then I have friends that all they do is watch Hallmark from the beginning of October till the end of January. And they have been posting about how much they love this and they're singing the songs all day long. So there's definitely an audience. I appreciate what they did, but most of all, I just appreciated a fun movie.
Yeah.
It is definitely a fun movie. I know I've been very Scroogey about it, but it's not like a horrible movie.
It's not like Cannibals, right?
It's not people eating everything, bones and all. Like that, just the whole.
I'm so every time conflicted. I need to talk to somebody about this movie, so I'm going to give you both. I'm not going to share anything with you all, but as soon as you see it,
I want to see that one. That one's on my list. Till's on my list. I'd love to talk about that one with you.
Till is amazing. Though this is the thing about Bones and All, just really quick. It's a romantic love story.
Yeah.
And I love that. But then I'm so conflicted about the cannibalism. Sorry.
This is tops on Jake's list.
No, it isn't. It isn't.
This is top.
No, the next one that I need to go see is The Fablemans. That's number
That
one on
I
my
want to
list of
see.
ones that I want to go see.
Yeah.
Mainly just because our friend Alan Cerny has talked about it nonstop, that I'm like, I need to see it just to know what he's talking about.
Yeah. The couple bops though, there were only a couple for me. The Good Afternoon song made me laugh pretty hard. I did think it was funny because when they get into the tap dancing, I was thinking, okay, Ryan Reynolds is probably a good dancer, and they cut away a lot. So I'm like, well, nope, he's not, because they didn't do those. When you have a good dancer, like you do a wide shot and just let them go and perform. And
not every time.
I'm trying to understand, Tracy. You've put a lot of you've like projected a lot of talent on Ryan Reynolds, and I'm not sure where this is coming from. Like,
I think we all just assume that
and
he's
he
like
dance, and
well,
we just assume he can do everything.
I'm not usually a Ryan Reynolds guy, but a lot of that changed for me with Free Guy.
okay.
Like, I don't like Deadpool. I don't think Deadpool's funny. I know I'm way in the minority on that, but I just don't find that funny. A lot of times I find Ryan Reynolds, I used to find him really annoying. Free Guy changed a lot for me, and I'm going, this guy is really talented. And I don't know, I just assumed like he would be able to, because a lot of actors are able to sing and dance. Like
Hugh Jackman didn't start out as a good singer and dancer, and he worked his way up into it.
Right.
You know, like people just slammed him when he was in Les Mis. And since then, he like literally worked his way to be what we see him as now, like touring in the biggest show, you know, like that kind of thing. And Ryan Reynolds, I think, and Will Ferrell, I don't know that they want to be on Broadway or anything like Hugh Jackman, but I think they just like to have fun. And it was so funny because Ryan Reynolds' wife, she retweeted Blake Lively. She retweeted and Instagrammed a video of their rehearsal and said, "Can you get pregnant while you're pregnant?" Because she's like, "This is so sexy." Right. And they're okay. Like they're just fine. But the fact that they're like these two men, for women, maybe not for every woman, but for me, I think it's cool when someone steps out of their comfort zone to try something. And like for dancing, like they're not dancers. That's not like their thing. And they're not singers. That's not their thing. They're comedians. So they took them being comedians, and they have such good, they bounce off each other. Their chemistry, like I would love to just be on the set and being the script supervisor and seeing like how much they went off and how much of that was just them being so great. I gotta
assume there's a lot of cut footage. I bet you there was a lot of improv on this.
I'm hoping that the whole scene in the elevator when he's trying to remember Tiny Tim's name, I hope that's all improvised. It was Tiny Tim. Little Larry? No, that wasn't it. Like that part.
Mike? Was that?
I don't know. Their chemistry just did it for me. There were some scenes in the movie I was like, okay, that could be cut. This could be a little bit shorter. This could be tightened up a little. But for me, when it came back around to the chemistry between, I think all of the cast, that chemistry pulled that through. And I loved the ending where like you thought, okay, so he jumped in front of this moving vehicle to save a life. And now and then he's like, then they just made him die. And he's like, wait, I'm dead. And he's like, well, you stepped in front of a bus.
I love that part.
I loved it.
When he flies into the truck, I'm like, okay, he's dead. And then when he gets up and he's like, wow, and like jumps out of the truck, I was like, wait a minute, there's no way. And then they pan over and there's the body. And I'm like, okay. So they got me on that one. I was like, wait a second. But they got me. I loved
that because like he really like he was a changed person, not all the way much, but he saw things. But he also like was young. He had a whole life to live and all these things to do, and he was important, but they still killed him. I thought that was great. Like instead of like this happily ever after, you know, blah blah blah. Like now he's dead. I just thought that was great.
Well, and I thought it was pretty brave to add in a suicide plot into it. I thought that was kind of brave of them in a holiday movie to tackle something that heavy and online bullying. I'm like, okay. So there's a lot that I appreciated. I just felt like it was too long.
Yeah.
The other bop to me was, and it's not really a bop, but it was a memorable song, was Octavia Spencer's The View from Here.
Yeah.
And then the reprise at the end. I'm like, okay, that was some well-written lyrics. That was good.
Yeah. And
Good afternoon, Jake.
Yeah. Okay. So that song, whatever. But I love that they call back to it later in the movie when he's getting out of the taxi cab and the driver's like, "Have a good afternoon." He's like, "What'd you say to me?" Like comes running back.
I did like it at the end too when he's got the kids and he's yelling at the kids because that Will Ferrell is pretty funny to me. Like the scene in Wedding Crashers where he's in the basement and he yells for his mom to bring him meatloaf just kills me every time. So when he's like yelling at the kids and then he turns to Ryan Reynolds, he's like, "Sorry, he still comes out sometimes." Yeah.
Well, and I think that's okay. Like,
Mhm.
you know, that I loved the overall theme of like, yeah, you're a better person, but it doesn't mean you still can't be angry.
Right.
You still can't be sad, that you still shouldn't want things in life. Like, I just thought the overall theme of changing and being a good person, because I think we all have our own ideas. And then when we're flipping through the internet, you know, like when they bring in, you know, this internet stuff of posting this video, like that kid was just a kid. And that was his feeling like at the time. And then you grow up or you grow smarter or whatever, and you realize, okay, I'm not that person anymore. You know what I mean? We've like, for me, it's that overall, like we're all still human. You can be a good person and still make mistakes. You can be a good person and still get angry. Like for me, I think that's what overall like saved it for me. Plus, I just loved all of the ghosts. The ghosts to me were super fun. And I loved how like they made Will Ferrell, like he was exactly like what you see in all the books, all the movies, is this big guy, you know, like they change him, like you see him the whole movie is this, and then they put him up on top of all the food and all the, you know, like that's
we
the
got to do this
classic.
traditional.
We got to do this traditional. Yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah, Tracy Morgan is the ghost of Christmas Future. Cracked me up. And again, I really love the actress who played Christmas Past. If you haven't seen Glow, it is a fantastic show. I think it was only 3 seasons. They were going to do one more, and unfortunately, Netflix canceled it, which just sucks. But Allison Brie, the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, that was a fun show.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic that Netflix canceled it after only 3 seasons, considering the subject matter and women's wrestling in general.
So what are some of your other, do you have any other modern classics that you guys like other than Elf? Is there anything that jumps out at you? Because I've got a couple, but not a lot.
I don't know. Like I keep trying to think. Noelle got really, really close. Like I really like Noelle. I think it's a charming, fun story, a different take on the whole Santa Claus legend. And
That's the Anna Kendrick one, right?
Yeah, and I like that one quite a bit.
I mean, I love The Holiday, but I don't think it's Christmassy enough to call it a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I mean The Holiday's a good one.
The Holiday's great.
I like the Jim Carrey Christmas Carol as far as a modern. I mean, it wasn't a modern take on the Christmas Carol, but a modern telling of the story. Like the animated version, I thought it was really good. They took the same kind of creepy animation in Polar Express and made it a lot better.
Yeah, it's still not there for me though.
And I get that too.
Yeah, for me,
Polar Express is one that I keep trying to like a lot. I just can't get there.
So the Community Christmas special where it's the stop motion Rankin and Bass, that is a great modern classic, and I bring this up every year, but if you have not checked it out, check out Anna and the Apocalypse. It's a musical like Spirited. It's a zombie film set at the holidays at a high school, and it's delightful. The songs on that is full of bops, Val.
I'm going to start next year. Everybody's got like a calendar to see how long they can go until they hear Last Christmas. I'm going to start one next year for us on this show to see how long we can go before Tracy mentions Anna and the Apocalypse on the show.
It's still in November, so
I know we didn't make it far this year. We didn't make it far this year at all. Which, by the way, I also heard Last Christmas already on the radio.
I haven't.
So
I haven't
already.
I haven't heard
I'm not working in radio this year, so I haven't heard it at all. I love Actually, and I love Jingle All the Way.
I didn't see that.
I love Jingle All the Way. You guys haven't seen Jingle All the Way?
I've seen Jingle All the Way.
I
Yes,
love it. I
with
think
Arnold
it's super
Schwarzenegger.
fun and
I
silly,
missed that one.
and I
Every
love it.
time I think of that movie, I think of uh, when Conan on his show used to do like the mouth thing, like the pictures of the celebrities and then the mouth behind. And
Yes.
he had Arnold Schwarzenegger on there one time talking about Jingle All the Way. And before Jingle All the Way, we only jingled half the way, but now we jingled all the way. What I think
That
about
made the
every
whole
time.
episode right there. Maybe we should talk about Jingle All the Way on the show. You know what I'm probably really gonna love is Violent Night.
I want to see that one. That one looks
If you
surprisingly
want to
good.
win tickets, you can go over to What to See with Val. I just plugged my show on my other show. And then be there with me on Tuesday night as we watch David Harbour
So
kick butt as Santa.
when we went and saw Wakanda Forever, I took my daughter with me and she saw a poster for Violent Night and she's like, Violent Night? That's the opposite of what it should be. That is, there you go. There's your take on Violent Night from my 14-year-old daughter, who hasn't seen it, obviously. But I don't know what to think about it. The previews look interesting. It looks like it's going to be super violent,
It's
which
right
in the
there
title, I think they're telling you that it's going to be, but at the same time, kind of heartwarming. I don't know,
It's David
we'll see.
Harbour, so I'll watch it. Like this is
Yeah,
the
I
thing.
like
It's
David
like
Harbour a lot.
I made a comment
hit or
on
miss with him.
I made the comment on the Facebook that I think Quentin Tarantino, and this is a whole different episode, is and I think Jake, you were the only one that commented on it before I took it down because I deleted it. I try and not put things on my Facebook page that are like overly negative.
Controversial.
No, just negative.
I know
just
if it wasn't
just
my comment
negative.
was the reason you took it down because I wasn't trying to be negative. Okay.
No, if I reread something and I feel like if somebody's scrolling through Facebook and I'm the negativity that I'm bringing into their world, I just had to get it out of my system. So I got it out. I left it up there for a couple of hours and then I deleted it.
I was going to say I didn't see it. So
so I just think that he was a hypocrite. But Jake pointed out that he doesn't think so. Both Jake and Tarantino think that there aren't what you would call like superstar actors that there used to be. Like if you love Tom Cruise back when, you're going to go see all the Tom Cruise movies, right? I think that I'm okay with that because I think that the actor should melt into the character. But I think there's an actor following, because if David Harbour's in a movie or a television show, I'm going to go see it. I'm going to watch it. If Paul Rudd is in a movie or a television show, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to go see it. Hopefully I don't see him in the movie, which I think when we had those superstar actors, we always saw, like, Julia Roberts is not a bad actress, but every time I see a Julia Roberts movie, I see Julia Roberts. I don't see the character. Erin Brockovich was probably the only time I feel like she disappeared into her character. Tom Cruise, I see Tom Cruise every time, even if he has prosthetics on.
I felt that way with Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. I was like, okay, but that's okay. I was all right with that.
Yeah, and I watched it because of them, and because I know they're not going to disappear into that. And so I'm not putting you down, Jake, but Jake,
I understand.
Yeah, but Tarantino thinks that it should be the latter. But what is hypocritical about his statement is that when he was a director, like a big time, he's still a director, when it was all his movies at the box office and everybody thought, we have this new director, he's so exciting, and people would get on him for not casting these well-known actors and actresses. They're all well-known now because they were in his movies. He was like, we need to make new movies where it's not about the superstar. It's about the script. It's about the acting. It's about the directing. It's basically, he wanted it to be about him, which is totally fine. Make your own movies. But now he's saying superhero movies and actors. And I thought it was really awful that he called out the Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth and said that they're not real actors.
I think by and large, most of his statement in a neutral kind of way could be taken as just an observation of how the industry is changing. And I think that that's fine. It's shifting, right? Where I think that there are a lot of actors who have been in the Marvel movies whose careers have been made because they were in the Marvel movies, instead of having a lot of big name actors. And when the first Captain America came out, I went to go see Captain America, not Chris Evans. But there are a lot of movies now that, like, when the first Knives Out movie came out, I was like, I want to see it because it's Chris Evans not being Captain America, and he's a decent actor, and so like I can see some of the points, and I can also see, studios are gonna make a lot of these big budget superhero movies, and really there's only two studios doing that. Disney with Marvel Studios and Warner Brothers with Warner Brothers because they're the only ones equipped to do that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other studios making a lot of other movies, but the movies that do consistently well are the superhero movies, and that's a
And horror.
that can be a complaint or not, but it is what it is. All of that can be taken very neutral. What made it not neutral, in my opinion, is at the very end when he's like, "Yeah, if I was still in my 20s, and this was happening, I guess I'd be interested in making that.
He
Like, I
talked
read
in
comics as a
circles.
kid,
Yeah.
but now, like, I'm just not interested." And what he was basically saying is, "I'm too mature or too cool for the Marvel movies." And dang it, I've been hearing that same stupid argument about comics and superheroes and pop culture
Your whole
crap
life.
my whole life,
Yep.
and that's what bothered me the most is it wasn't a neutral comment at the end.
It
The
wasn't.
observations, I can agree with a lot of what he said, but it was really coming from this place of I'm better than that. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why I'm not gonna
And I
do it.
took it that way from the beginning
Right.
because I know who Quentin Tarantino is. I've
Yeah.
seen him
Well, and he
do live interviews. I understand his tone. I respect him as a filmmaker because I do think he has done a lot of things for film. But as a person, I think he is spiteful and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
he is contradictory. And because he did that whole sentence of, well, I mean, I bought comics, and if these were made when I was younger, I'd be there. He's angry that he's not
That he
making
missed
these
it.
movies and that
Yeah.
he missed
Yeah.
out. But also, what the heck is Kill Bill if not a freaking
Comic book movie.
superhero comic
Yeah.
book movie?
Yeah.
So again, you're a hypocrite. And how
Well,
about I'm totally fine that he has an opinion. He has the right to state
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
I don't agree with it, but what I would really want him to do is just go make another movie. How about
Yeah.
you go
He's
make
only got
another
one
movie?
left. He's
Well,
only got
and
one left, so it's
and
gotta be
it's
good.
funny too because he also made
His
a comment
choice.
in a different interview about directors. Like, he was asked if he would ever make a Marvel film, and he's like, "No, I'm not a hired hand." And again, like the truth behind the comment is, yeah, a lot of the directors in the Marvel movies have not been established directors, and that doing the Marvel movie established them.
Right.
And there's been an overarching, like, we want the story to go in this direction, and so there's a little bit more control. We want it to look and feel the same as the other Marvel movies and things like that.
Right.
And there's some exceptions to that. Ryan Coogler's Black Panther movies, Taika Waititi's Thor movies are very much their movies that are also Marvel movies. So if he had said, "I don't think I'd be interested in doing a Marvel movie at this point in my career because I've established my voice and I just don't feel like it would mesh with what Marvel's doing," that's one thing. But
Yeah.
he called them hired hands, and it was
Mhm.
very much in a way like, I'm too good for that.
I'm the
Because that's what he's
auteur.
really coming. Yeah. And
And I
So-
think it's
He's
and I'm sorry that
amazingly
I put this
talented.
out into like a wrong direction, but yeah, I just had to like state it just because like sometimes we don't need that. We
Yeah.
need Spirited. Sometimes we
Yeah.
don't need freaking,
I think
what
I think
like
where he got it
I-
wrong is
yeah.
that there is room for a lot of different movies to be made.
Totally.
and don't
And
throw
and there are a
people
lot of
under the
studios
bus.
There's a lot of studios not doing Marvel movies. A lot
Right.
of studios.
I haven't
And-
watched one since
Leon?
Black Panther. I've watched
Right.
27 movies in the past 2 weeks. One was a Marvel movie. One.
And people
No.
are going to see them. The problem is that Marvel has set this, like, if it doesn't make $1 billion,
Yeah.
then it's not a big success. And that's just not fair.
Right.
But like,
Right.
I went and saw Glass Onion last night, which is a fantastic movie, completely not Marvel related at all. It does have Dave Bautista in it, but other than that, and Ed Norton, okay, but other than that, not Marvel at all, right? And it was amazing, and the theater was full. Like, we got like the last 2 seats that are not the front row,
Nice.
and
It was my pick of the week.
it's a solid pick, Val. It might be one of my favorites of the year. Honestly, I really, really enjoyed it as much almost as the original Knives Out.
I liked it more than the original.
Did you?
Um,
I can see that. I need to go back and watch the original again to kind of see where it lands, but there are those movies being made and people are going to see them, but they're not making the headlines like the Marvel movies because they're not making the money that the Marvel movies are making.
all right. So real quick before we
Sorry.
end, speaking of Marvel, no, you're fine. But
Thanks
speaking
for
of
letting me go
Marvel,
off on that rant.
There was another Marvel release this week that we should talk about briefly.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. What are your thoughts?
I thought it was funny. I think it's a 1 or maybe 2 time watch. For me, it's directly to Disney Plus, so you have to know that it's not a big screen movie. It's not
what,
theatrical.
43 minutes.
Yeah, it's a short, basically. And so for me, I thought it was a breath of fresh air in that they just had fun. The Guardians were doing something that different than they usually do. There were some really fun, surprising gift-giving moments in the movie that I just thought were really like funny, that brought some Easter eggs from the past into it. And just them explaining to outsiders, like outsiders trying to figure out what Christmas is. I just thought was hilarious to me.
Santa's got a flamethrower.
Not a flame. And I'm like, I want a flamethrower for Christmas.
Yeah.
I love the song that the band sings explaining Christmas to Quill. I'm like, that's a bop right there. That was great.
I'd play that.
Yeah,
I love seeing Drax and Mantis together. It was pretty obvious who they could get to be on set for a week or 10 days or however long it took them to shoot, because a few of the characters were there for like one day for the shooting. So, but I thought Mantis was a much appreciated kind of deep dive into her character that we haven't seen much of her. We've seen little bits, but she got more than she ever has. I loved her getting mad at Drax. I thought that was hilarious. The two of them played off so well. Dave Bautista to me is another guy that just surprises me consistently. Like, he just gets better and better. He knows who he is, and he knows what his range is, and he pushes against that, but he's not trying to do Shakespeare. But what he does really, really well. So yeah. I liked it. I'd probably give that one a B. I don't know that I need to see it every year. There's a few moments that will tie into Guardians 3. But to me, and James Gunn basically said as much, as he said, Guardians 3 is kind of a heavier movie. So this was like a breath of fresh air to break away from that, do this movie, and then go back to Guardians 3. It was just fun and lighthearted for him.
So I'm disappointed to hear that Guardians 3 is going to be a heavier movie. We on Age of Geek, we had Robert Neal on, and he was talking. We were talking about Marvel Phase 4 and how it's been just so heavy, and we needed that after Endgame and everything that happened in Endgame. But are we ready for some lighter movies? And the answer is yes. If Quantum Mania doesn't make me laugh, I'm going to be pissed. Like, seriously,
the trailer is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it just needs to deliver on that. I need
drama.
That.
There's going to be the drama moments.
Yeah, the Guardians are going to give you the humor and the wackiness, but this is the end of a trilogy. He always imagined this as 3 movies. Yeah, this is kind of the end for a lot of these characters in this iteration.
Guardians 3 better give me.
He's stepping away.
Guardians 3 better give me 2 things: humor. There better be moments that I laugh, and Adam Warlock better be in it, or else.
Adam Warlock.
What are you gonna do?
I'm 99%
complain about it on the.
Are you and Ty? Are you and Ty gonna throw a little fit on the floor?
John.
No, I'll go see it. There's nothing I'm going to do. You're right, Val. It's an empty threat. Like, it better give me this. If James Gunn
I'm
is
just saying, after the movie, do I need to have my camera on for you and Ty on the floor, like throwing a little tantrum because Mephisto and Warlock are in this movie?
Mephisto is fine.
Sure
I'm not the Mephisto fan.
No, I know Ty is, but I just want to see both of you throwing a little kid tantrum.
I thought the holiday special, for me, this fits in with like the Lego Star Wars holiday special, although I like the Lego Star Wars one better, where like it was fun to watch the day after Thanksgiving. It was fun to kind of start my holiday season off with it, but it's not one that I have to watch every year. I don't know that I have to go back and revisit it again and again.
Story.
No, I mean, it's 44 minutes. It's not like a huge time commitment. If you want to put something on where it's like, okay, I need a break from whatever it is I'm doing this weekend, the shopping and whatever else, I'm going to sit down and watch. Like, it's perfect for that, but it's not.
There's not a lot of consequence to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it does give us one major story point, and that's it.
Yeah.
But. Which is more than I expected, honestly.
There were some pretty funny lines. Like, do you want to save Christmas and help Peter, or do you want the funny little man?
I want the funny little man.
Yeah. Well, and who knew that Mantis was such a yeller? She yells a lot in this one.
Cracked me up. And then when they flip the police car and she gives him the candy cane, she's like, "We're even."
I will
They're
say
like,
though,
okay.
and this has got to be something that I don't know. I just imagine marketing wise, but Groot gives the little gifts at the end that are like
Oh,
little
those were
snippets.
fantastic.
Oh,
Like they've got to be selling those on Shop Disney or something,
I
right?
hope
Like they've
so.
got to be
They
available
weren't
as a
on there
collectible.
yesterday, but
Like-
that they should be somewhere.
and like A24, they need to do that type of marketing because A24 does the greatest marketing. Like they just did a Hereditary gingerbread house set that is hysterical. They sold the hot dog fingers from Everything Everywhere All at Once. They market, and I was with you, Jake. I'm like, if they don't market these and sell these, there is a missed opportunity here. And Disney, you know that they love to get the marketing out. So I'm hoping.
And I haven't said this for a couple of years because I didn't want the other Bob to call me, but Bob Iger, give me a call. We can chat.
I'm so happy about Bob
I know.
Iger. Some people think Bob Iger's the devil, and I don't need those people in my life.
I saw some, I think I saw some comments on your post about it, Val, and I was like, I don't know who this person is, and I respect their right to an opinion, and so I'm not going to argue with them.
Some people don't like how commercial Bob Iger made Disney, and I'm like, have you been a Disney fan for a while? Because that's pretty much all it is.
Well, it's not like Bob Chapek was doing a better job at like not making it commercial. He was just breaking everything that Bob Iger had done anyway.
Yeah, that's a whole nother
Come
show.
in here and
Bob,
you touch
welcome
my
back
stuff.
to the family.
Okay, so but next week we get to talk about one of my favorite directors. This is again the Advent calendar, Jake, the Wham Christmas.
I know.
Guillermo del Toro.
We should play Tracy Bingo on the show. Like
we should. We need to have those downloadable on our website so that listeners can download.
Did he mention Guillermo del Toro?
Yes.
Did he mention Anna and the Apocalypse? Did he mention the cinematography in the movie?
But you love me for it.
I have an idea.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely.
We should do this for 2023. Okay. Where we do like a monthly bingo card of Tracy or like a quarterly bingo card with Tracy on our website. And if somebody can get them all filled out and tell us what show they heard it on, we'll send you a free merch. Like I feel like we should do the Tracy bingo card every quarter.
I'm down.
I don't want you to change a single thing about anything that you do,
no,
Tracy.
I love
every bit of it. Don't think that for a minute that what we're saying is to stop any of this.
No, it's so much fun.
I really feel like when we were at the Midway, and that was a lot of fun.
Yes,
I felt like we really
everyone.
Thank you everyone for coming out, for donating. But I feel like it was just my wife was like, "Yeah, you guys really did a good job considering we didn't script anything, we didn't plan anything except that we were going to be there and support each other, and we just did it."
Yeah,
but that's the
show.
So
that's what
we all bring different stuff, and so don't change anything.
I'll give you a quick thing though. After we wrapped up and we had all the good Disney vibes, we had Disney trivia, we had Disney prizes. The tone changed pretty dramatically. It wasn't even Disney after dark. Like I'm like, okay, Disney time is over.
Okay, bye.
Yeah.
But a lot of people showed up and a lot of people participated, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you to Bill at the Midway for letting us come down, and the staff was fantastic, and it was a great time. We raised a lot of money. We reached $5,000 for the American Cancer Society. We raised $1,000 just that night, which is awesome.
That's awesome. So
all right, grading Spirited.
Yeah, we've got to give. We've totally missed Spirited giving it a grade.
All right. Should I go in the middle to balance you two out, or
I'll go first. And here's the thing: I gave it a C+, and I really feel like for me, what saved the movie was Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. I think if it was anybody else in this movie, I wouldn't even give it a C+.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it gave me anything that I hadn't seen before with A Christmas Carol. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. C+. It's still fun. You need to check it out at least once. You'll enjoy it. It'll be fun. And you'll probably think I'm crazy for giving it such a low grade. And that's fine too.
That's okay. I'm going to go B on it. I felt like it was just a little too long. There were a couple of songs that they could have cut, a couple of scenes they could have trimmed down. When I'm watching a movie, if I start looking at my watch, that's when I'm starting to lose interest, when I'm like, how much longer is this? Or how long have I been in this? I found myself doing that a couple of times, but then they brought me back in. I thought it was a clever twist on the Christmas Story or Christmas Carol story. I thought Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell were good. I loved Octavia Spencer. Couple of bops in the piece. Bops is my new thing now.
We've noticed.
I don't know why, but you know what? I refuse to say brekkie tacos at Beans and Brews. I will say breakfast tacos, and they'll say, "Do you want brekkie tacos?" And I'm like, "No, I want breakfast tacos." So there's certain things. I'm trying to be more hip and be younger, but
are they listed on the menu as brekkie tacos?
Yes, they are. Yep, they're brekkie, and I'm like, nope, can't do it. But I'm going to go B on this one.
Yeah, it's a B for me as well. I just thought it was enjoyable, funny. It's nothing like it is a movie for these two stars. Like you watch this movie because of them. If you watch it for any other reason, I don't know why you're watching it, because I think all of us like, oh my gosh, Will Ferrell, he's in a movie, he's singing. Oh, and look,
Ryan
there's
Reynolds,
his best friend, Ryan Reynolds. And that's exactly the star power of why I watched this movie. Quentin Tarantino, bite me. But those are two stars that if they are in a movie, I'm going to go see it.
And I think, Jake, I just figured out why I was projecting so much on the Ryan Reynolds. It's because he's such good friends with Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
So
I wondered if it was the Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
That was
but I also
over.
think
That's
he
what it
just
was.
has this manner about him that you think he's good at everything.
Yeah.
But it's really just that he'll try anything.
He's confident.
Well,
he's like,
I think
I'll do it.
Yeah.
You will try anything, including owning a soccer team.
Yeah. So
that's it explains why that rivalry is so strong, at least on the Ryan Reynolds side. He's jealous of the fact that Hugh Jackman can do all of that stuff. No, I'm kidding.
If you don't do hashtag Quentin Tarantino bite me on this episode,
I will not do that.
Bite me, Quentin Tarantino.
But
listen,
John Favreau.
I don't think we're gonna invite John Favreau. That's still an open invitation all the time, always welcome. That's fine. I'm willing to do that, and I know nobody's gonna see it, and I know nobody would actually probably see Bite Me Quentin Tarantino or Quentin Tarantino Bite Me, but
maybe we could get Quentin on the show. You don't know.
Hey,
that is probably the
Twitter
one
right now,
director that I don't know that I would want to sit down and have a conversation
Twitter
with.
Going the way that it is,
conversation.
anything can happen, Jake.
Yeah, it's true. You never know with Twitter nowadays. All right, well, that's the episode. Next week, we will be back talking about Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio movie. That is coming out, and we're excited to talk about it. The animation looks amazing. Val has seen it, and so we will have seen it by then, too, so that we can have a good conversation. Otherwise, it would be weird. We're excited to talk about that. And then, other than that, you can find us on all the social media places. We are actually on the Hive social network now. I don't know if people are still doing that. They were for a couple of days. We'll see.
I'm on there and I have one follower, and that is us. I don't know how to change pictures. I've posted one thing. I can't put a picture up. It's because Android isn't like a full.
Yeah, the Android
demo
app they just threw out when they got 1 million subscribers all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on there.
Yeah. We're still on Twitter until that place burns down to the ground completely. We will still be there. And you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us wherever you listen to podcasts on whichever format you choose. And until next time, we won't see you at the movies.
Where's the bop, Tracy?
I was just kind of good afternoon. Good afternoon.
What did you say to me?
This has been an Age of Geek media production.